What's going on, movie fans? My name is Michael Weer. I love talking about movies and I love collecting movies. Just beyond that Pac-Man machine, there are shelves, and those shelves hold over 1,100 Blu-rays. I absolutely love collecting physical media. There's something so special about holding that physical media, owning that physical media. It's not content that can be changed by anyone. It's not content that can be hidden behind some streaming service paywall. No, it's yours forever, and you can put that disc in the Blu-ray player and watch it whenever you want. And I love that about physical media. And so today, just like we've done so many times in the past on this channel, I'm going to do a Blu-ray collection update. That's where I talk to you guys about all of the Blu-rays I've picked up since the last Blu-ray collection update. We're going to talk about these. Some of them I haven't seen, and I'm excited to see them in the future, and others just needed to add them to my collection. But for those of you who've been around for a while, you know that this isn't just about the movies that I've picked up in the last several months. I want to know what you've picked up. So let me know down in the comment section down below what you've picked up on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD. Maybe you're a VHS collector. Let me know down below. And if you're a fellow YouTuber that makes videos on this, link that down below, because I'd love to subscribe to your channel as well, and I would invite you to subscribe to mine. With that said, let's get into my latest Blu-ray collection update video, where I'll talk about a ton of movies that I'm excited to share with you guys. Let's do it right now. Alright guys, so the first stack of movies I have here, they're going to be the movies I haven't watched yet. These are the movies that I wanted to add to my collection, watch on a rainy day. These are movies that I've been told, hey, you got to check this movie out. So I have these in my first stack here. We're going to go through them right now. The first one up is the 3-film collection of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. This is Bill and Ted Face the Music, The Bogus Journey, and Excellent Adventure. I've never seen any of these movies, never got on the Bill and Ted hype train, but I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, so I will be checking these out soon. I'm excited about those. Next up, guys, we have Commando, an Arnold movie that I haven't watched yet. I do love everything I've ever seen with Arnold in it, so I'm looking forward to watching Commando. Next up, we have What Lies Beneath. Now, this one, I've seen about half of it, and I do know the premise of this movie. Essentially, something could be haunting Harrison Ford's wife, or is it Harrison Ford that is manipulating the situation? It's a really good movie. I have watched, again, about 50% of it. I'm looking forward to finishing it now that I own the physical copy of it. The first steelbook we're going to talk about here today is going to be Sympathy for the Devil. Sympathy for the Devil is a Nicolas Cage movie that came out in 2023. I never checked it out when it came out because I think it was only in theaters for like a day, and then it went straight to streaming, and I wasn't going to pay $30 for it. But I found it for a deal at Best Buy when they were kind of clearing everything out. So I have it now. I will watch it in the future. Next up, we have Super 8. This is a movie directed by J.J. Abrams. It's an alien movie with sort of Stranger Things vibes to it, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Next up, we have The Brawl in Cell Block 99. I forgot what number it was. I had to look real quick. Stars Vince Vaughn. It's a hard-hitting, sort of independent film, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. American Pie, The Book of Love. I might have seen this, so I might be wrong when I say that I haven't seen this movie, but I don't think I've seen American Pie, The Book of Love. So I threw it in the I haven't seen yet pile. I do have all of the other American Pie movies on my shelves back there, so one of these days I'll do like a full American Pie watch, and maybe I'll do reviews for those, or just a giant review. We'll see down the road. We'll see. Next up, we have Hook. Hook stars Robin Williams, and of course this is a Peter Pan sort of alternate universe movie, and I've never seen it, and I'm looking forward to watching it with my kids, so I'll get on that soon. Pixels, another movie I'm planning to watch with my kids, stars Adam Sandler, Kevin James, sort of his tamer humor. Get to that when I get to it. Hitchcock, I heard about this movie. I've never seen it. I think Anthony Hopkins plays Alfred Hitchcock. Scarlett Johansson's in this movie. I'm looking forward to watching it. Get Shorty. I know nothing about this, but I've seen it in my local disc replay like every week for the last couple of months, and I was like, all right, I'm going to pick it up. So I've got to Get Shorty now. Next up, we have First Man, and First Man stars Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong going to the moon. I've heard nothing but good things about this. I love movies that take place in space, so I'm looking forward to checking out First Man. And the final movie in the pile of movies I haven't watched yet would be Rounders. Rounders stars Matt Damon, and it's a movie that Hollywood churns out about every 2 or 3 years, where it's a movie about a couple of guys go to Vegas, they get way in over their heads when it comes to gambling, and then everything goes wrong and they have to get away. Again, that's the formula for gambling casino movies in Hollywood, and so this is one of them that was turned out. This was recommended to me by a coworker a couple of years ago, actually, and I wasn't able to find it, but I found it on Blu-ray, had to pick it up, so I will give Rounders a chance. All right, guys, now we're going to move on to movies that I have seen, and these are movies that are mostly filling out my collection, things that are missing from different series. Not that I'm not excited about these, but just movies I wanted on my shelves, and then my final stack of movies will be movies I'm super excited to share with you guys. So first up, we have Jack Black in School of Rock. I'm pretty sure I found this because that they dropped a steelbook case of it, so somebody turned this in. But yeah, I've got School of Rock now. My kids love School of Rock, and so it's a fun movie to watch as a family. Next up, we have The Gift. The Gift stars Joel Edgerton and I want to say Jason Bateman. Yes, Jason Bateman. And it's a pretty messed up movie. If you've seen it, you know that ending. Pretty open-ended, but it was good. Next up, we have Jason Statham in Death Race. You know they've made like 3 or 4 Death Race movies. I've only ever seen this one, and this one was really fun to watch. If you want a hard-hitting Jason Statham movie that also involves racing, yeah, Death Race. It's a fun time. Next up, guys, we have another car movie, kind of. It's Faster. This stars The Rock, and I think this was the first movie he made when he got out of his Disney contract, because he was in a Disney contract where he had to like make the Tooth Fairy and things like that, but then he made Faster, and this movie just opens with him getting out of jail, going directly for his gun, going to an office, and pow, taking somebody out, and it's a great way to start the movie. It's a really good shot. I recommend it. It's got Billy Bob Thornton in it as well, and it's got some twists and turns that are pretty fun. Next up, we have Gangster Squad. Not a great movie, but I saw it, and I think it was like for a deal. I think they only wanted like $2 for it, and I was like, all right, I'll get Gangster Squad. I remember really being hyped for that movie, seeing it in theaters, and be like, ugh. That wasn't very good. Next up, guys, we have Death at a Funeral. Death at a Funeral is a really fun comedy. I remember seeing this in theaters, and it was a good time, so I'm hoping a watch here at home will be fun. Next up, we have another comedy that is Yes Man. Yes Man, where Jim Carrey only can say yes. He likes little quirky movies like that, right? He's got Liar Liar, where he can't lie, and in Yes Man, he has to say yes. It's a fun premise, fun movie. Next up, we're going to switch it up from comedy, and we're going to talk about a serious movie, and that is 42, the Jackie Robinson story starring the late, great Chadwick Boseman. And I didn't realize Harrison Ford was in it. I mean, I've seen the movie, but I don't remember him in this, so I'm going to have to do a rewatch soon. Next up, we have Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary, this is the updated 2019 version of it, and I remember watching this with a double feature of Shazam. Shazam was the better movie for sure, and I've never been a huge fan of the Pet Sematary series, but I do want to watch Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and I'll probably pick that up on Blu-ray, so I thought I'd just get them both. Next up, guys, we have another movie I haven't seen since theaters, and that is A Good Day to Die Hard. I remember watching this on opening night. I think I watched this as a triple feature with Beautiful Creatures and a Nicholas Sparks movie that I don't remember the name of now. So I did watch a triple feature of these when this came out. But yeah, this one, it's not the best in the Die Hard series, but I'm just trying to fill out my Die Hard collection. It's the only one I didn't have, so now I have the whole Die Hard collection. All right, next up, guys, we have Hitch. Hitch stars Will Smith as a man who's a great matchmaker, can put anybody together. He sets up people all the time, but has a hard time finding love himself until he runs into Eva Mendes, and then he falls in love himself. Kind of Will Smith's thing for a while there. It was either action or like a heartbreaking case of a man who just needs love, or a little bit of both. Next up, we have The Prestige, a movie that I owned on DVD. I have now upgraded to Blu-ray. I love this movie. I think it's a fantastic Nolan movie. You've got Christian Bale in the movie. You've got Hugh Jackman in the movie, and they are competing magicians, and it's just fantastic. Next up, we have Fred Claus. Fred Claus, I thought I owned this, but I guess I didn't. I had 4 Christmases, as it turned out. So Fred Claus, I'm glad I picked it up. It stars Vince Vaughn as the brother of Santa Claus, played by Paul Giamatti, and I always have a good time with it around Christmas. Next up, we have Executive Decision. Executive Decision stars Kurt Russell, but it also has Steven Seagal in it, and that's why I watched it the first time I watched it. Watched it on TV, it advertised Steven Seagal, so I was like, yes, I love Steven Seagal, let's watch it. And then he gets like blown out of a hatch 5 minutes into the movie, and you're like, oh, he's already dead. So it's really a vehicle for Kurt Russell being an action star, and it's actually a really fun time, so Executive Decision, I recommend it. Next up, we have Firewall, starring Harrison Ford and Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany plays the villain. Harrison Ford has to steal like $100 million. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so that's what I remember. So Firewall, Harrison Ford. Next up, we have the worst of the 2 G.I. Joe movies we've gotten, G.I. Joe Retaliation. This stars The Rock, and I don't know what happened in the creative process, but I really enjoyed the first G.I. Joe movie. I did. The Rise of Cobra, I thought was a fun time. I enjoyed it. Was looking forward to the next movie. And then as soon as they signed Bruce Willis and The Rock, they were like, all right, we're going to go a completely different direction. We're going to cut out everything we had set up from the first movie, except for the president angle. And it was just lackluster. So I have it because it's like a collection. That's the only reason. Next up, we have 12 Rounds. 12 Rounds is a movie that stars John Cena, and I was the biggest John Cena fan back when this came out. He was at the height of his WWE career. I remember going to the theater to watch this, and it's a subpar movie, but it's still fun. It's a fun, enjoyable action movie. Next up, we have Ouija, and I remember when this came out because it came out my birthday weekend, and I went to see it, and I had I didn't realize, but I was like developing the flu. And by the end of the movie, I was just dying. So I've got to give this another watch. I remember Ouija Origin of Evil, I think was the second one, and it was much better. So if I find that one, I'll add it to the collection. Next up, we have Vacancy. This is a movie I've had my eye on for a while at my disc replay. They've wanted, I think, like $10 for it. I just pulled the trigger. I was like, you know what? I need this because I enjoy this movie. It's a movie about a couple that goes to a very seedy motel. Turns out they're being watched on cameras, and that motel owner is killing people. So it's a great horror movie. It's in that genre of like kind of gritty, dirty horror, and I like that. Next up, we have Wild Hogs, and for whatever reason, this movie makes me laugh every time I watch it. I enjoy the camaraderie, the brotherhood of these bikers who aren't really bikers. They're like a dentist and just normal, but they get into trouble and hijinks with different biker gangs as they're going down the road. It's just a fun time. So John Travolta's in this as well. I think it's a really fun, just wholesome movie, I guess. Next up, we have 8 Mile. And 8 Mile, of course, stars Eminem giving his own life story. And usually I don't like musical biopics because whoever is in charge of the musical biopic puts that person in like the best light possible, which is why I really enjoyed this, why I really appreciated this movie, because I don't feel like Eminem let them taint any of the story. I feel like he was like, hey, you know, take creative control here. This is the events in my life. And yeah, it does ultimately paint him as the hero in the movie, but it's how the events played out in real life. And so I appreciate that about this movie. Whereas most music biopics that you get are just really mocked up, and they're like, oh yeah, this person, yeah, he might have done a million drugs and he might not been a great person, but this movie's going to put him in the best light possible. Whereas 8 Mile doesn't do that, really tells the gritty story of his beginning, and I really love that. Next up, we have Takers, an upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray. I've talked about it on this channel before. I love this movie, and it's not very good, but I enjoy it. It's also got Christian Haydenson in it, and I don't think we had seen him in anything since the Star Wars movie, so it was really cool getting him back in this movie. It was my first introduction to Idris Elba, who now I just know as Charles Miner from The Office. Next up, we have It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. This is a staple in my house. Every Halloween season, we have to watch this a couple times, but I'm always having to rent it, or like last year, I had to subscribe to Apple TV just to be able to watch this with my kids, but now I own it, so I will watch it every Halloween going forward with them. Next up, we have a Tom Clancy book-to-movie adaptation, The Sum of All Fears. This is a movie that stars Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman. I watched this once, don't remember it very well, but it's just, you know, I'm going to collect everything from both of those actors, so might as well put it in the collection. Next up, we have John Q. John Q stars Denzel Washington as a father who goes to extreme lengths to get a surgery for his son. Now, on the outside looking in, you're like, I don't know if I want to check this out, but it really is a compelling movie, and it really is a gripping movie, and a movie that asks the question, how far would you go to get health care for your kid? That's all I'll say, because I don't want to spoil this movie for those of you who haven't seen it. If you have seen it, you know he goes to incredible lengths, and it's just a great movie. Highly recommend John Q. And finally, from this stack, we have Gran Torino. Gran Torino, about a man who just wants people to stay off his lawn, and it's so good. So I'm glad I finally own this, put it in my collection. With those stacks down and out of the way, it's time to get to the final stack of movies. These are the movies that I'm so excited to talk to you guys about. Like, I was excited to talk to you about the other ones, but these have something special connected to them. I'm excited to talk about them. But before I do that, it's time for some Pure Leaf tea. Pure Leaf tea. They don't sponsor me, but they should. All right, let's move on. The first movie we're going to talk about is Operation Fortune, the newest Guy Ritchie movie. And I didn't love this when I saw it in theaters, but I've rewatched it here at home, and I just had such a great time with it. I'm glad I own it on Blu-ray now. Next up, we have a movie that I've been looking for on Blu-ray for so long, and it is The Skeleton Key. Now, I did own this on DVD, and so I've seen it a couple of times because of that, but just finding this Blu-ray was so difficult unless you're just willing to just buy it online. I hate doing that. I like the hunt. Finding movies out in the wild, it's something special about that, so I finally found Skeleton Key. Excited to pop this thing in. It is a fantastic horror movie that has an ending that I think a lot of people were upset with. I know I was the first time I watched it, but I've grown to really appreciate and enjoy The Skeleton Key. Next up, guys, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and this is a really fun movie. My kids and I really had an enjoyable time in the theater watching this movie, and I know they're going to have a TV show that comes to Paramount Plus starring these same turtles, and then we're going to get a second movie featuring the Shredder, which I'm really excited about, so it's just fun to have this one in my collection now. Next up, we're going to switch gears quite a bit from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're talking about a very serious love story in a ghost story. Now, this isn't a horror movie in any way, but it is a fantastic love story about a man who's a husband and a father, and then he dies in a tragic accident and becomes the ghost that you see here, played by Casey Affleck. And once he becomes a ghost, there's no speaking from him, and he just sort of lives in that house. He has to watch his wife move on, he has to watch his kids move on, then leave, and then he can't leave the house, and so he's there as other people come through, and it goes through decades, then it goes through centuries, and just him being a ghost in that house, watching people live their lives. And it's so tragic and it's so sad, but it's just beautiful. I love a ghost story. Can't wait to watch it again. Next up, guys, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, this is a movie I wanted to pick up for a while. I love the white case, by the way, or the white box. It's a blue case, but I like the white slip cover. That's pretty cool. And yeah, this was a very emotional end for the Guardians of the Galaxy. It was also James Gunn's final entry into the MCU as he now looks towards the DCU, and I'm excited to see what he does with that. But this was a really fun, exciting adventure for the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it was also heartbreaking, and I just really enjoyed it. I wish they had gone a little further, maybe taken a few of the Guardians' lives throughout the movie. I think that would have raised the stakes a little bit. They didn't. Marvel's playing it safe, keeping all their characters alive to just decide what they want to do with them, but yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a good pickup. Next up, we have another movie that came out last year, and that is The Holdovers. And The Holdovers, of course, Paul Giamatti might win an Oscar for it this Sunday. We will see. I think Cillian Murphy deserves it, but if he gets it, I'm not going to be upset. With that said, though, Paul Giamatti, it just does a fantastic job in this movie, but all of the performances in this movie are great. The story in this movie is wholesome, it's great, and it's going to be a Christmas classic in my house going forward. All right, we have three things left to talk about here today. The first one is going to be The Fugitive. The Fugitive, of course, stars Harrison Ford, and this is the 4K updated version that just came out, and I'm excited to see this thing in 4K. I love The Fugitive. I think it's one of my favorite movies, and I love the follow-up to U.S. Marshals. That was also fantastic. The only thing I don't like about this, and this is the only thing, is that all the movies that came out last year, WB put this 100-year banner on, and I wish they hadn't done that. I don't know, like, it's special for them, sure, but I didn't need that on my physical copy, and it's going to be there for, it's not a sticker, it's part of the case. So that's a little gripe I have, but I am very excited to check this thing out on 4K. Next up, we have Dream Scenario starring Nicolas Cage. This was a day one. The instant it came out from, I think, Walmart, I purchased it and they had it delivered. I'm so excited to watch this thing. Dream Scenario starring Nicolas Cage. Don't know why I just opened the case, but I did. Dream Scenario was a beautiful movie. My wife and I really enjoyed it. It was on both of our favorites of the year. I think it was her favorite of 2023, and I completely understand why. Just a great movie. Very heartbreaking, but also just very moving. And I don't know, as I get older, you see the movies I'm excited to talk about, a lot of them are heartbreaking. They're wholesome. They're about two characters falling in love, and there's just something nice about that. So Dream Scenario, great movie. Finally, guys, I have one last thing to show you, and that is this. I'm so excited to share this with you. It is the 4K edition, Steelbook edition, Dark Arts edition of the Harry Potter movies. This is something that when I saw it online, I had to have it. I absolutely had to have it. I've never owned the Harry Potter movies on 4K before, but owning the Dark Arts edition means that the covers feature the villains. And if you know anything about me, you know I really love all of the Harry Potter characters, but the villains really just make those movies, in my opinion. So I'm going to show you these covers now. Here's the first one, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Oh, it's got Quirrell on the front of it. It's great. And of course, Quirrell's being controlled by he who shall not be named. Next up, we have part 2, which is the Chamber of Secrets. And it shows Harry Potter at the end there in the Chamber of Secrets with Tom Riddle. Pretty awesome. Next up, we have part 3, which is, of course, going to feature the Dementor on the front of it and Harry Potter fighting the Dementors. Really cool. Part 4, in the Goblet of Fire, shows that symbol, Voldemort's symbol. Of course, it's him coming back. And I really want to get this on this arm one day. That's a goal I have in the future. Number 5, the Order of the Phoenix. It's going to show a Death Eater on the front, and Lucius Malfoy, I think, is the Death Eater it's featuring, I would assume. Next up, part 6, we have the Half-Blood Prince, and of course it features Snape, who's kind of up to no good in that movie, and then you find out he was up to good, but you find that out later. Number 7, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows with Bellatrix Lestrange at the front and a Horcrux on the back. So awesome. Next up, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 featuring Voldemort on the front of it. I love this case so much. This was really the selling point for me. When I saw that I could get a Harry Potter movie, but with Voldemort on the front, I was like, I need the whole collection. This was the selling to me. I love it. And finally, there's one more steelbook in here, and it just has Harry Potter collectible pins. I'll probably give these to my daughter. And the case is kind of cool, though, so I'll keep the case, but I'll probably give these pins to my daughter. She loves Harry Potter. So that is what I want to share with you guys today. But guys, those are all the movies that I picked up since the last time that I made one of these collection update videos. If you have any of these, let me know that in the comment section down below as well. And don't forget to share the movies that you've picked up. Finally, guys, if you like this video and you want to watch more, don't forget to hit the like button because it helps the video, it helps the channel, and it helps me right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Alright guys, we got to the end of my Blu-ray collection update video, and I really love making these. They're some of my favorite videos to make for the channel. You guys seem to respond to them really well. Love talking to you guys in the comments with them. If you're new to the channel and you've never seen any of my other collection updates, well, I've got all of my Blu-ray collection update videos right there. And if you didn't know I do movie reviews, well, I've got all of my 2024 movie reviews right there.